From UFCU Dish Falk Field, welcome to Austin, everybody.
Welcome, baby.
And ever since he's been in Tuscaloosa, he's been phenomenal.
That is one bad dude right there.
Absolute filth. Dylan Volantis. A solo no-hitter has just been authored.
Let me keep going. I'm good.
First superstar matchup of the afternoon.
The stars at night will be big and bright tonight here in Austin. The SEC gauntlet continues for both Alabama and Texas as they meet for the first time as SEC members. Welcome into Dish Falk Field alongside Ty Harrington. I'm David Salzman. Both these teams looking to rebound from getting swept last weekend. Texas, a shortened 2-game sweep at the hands of Texas A&M, and Alabama lost 3 leads in getting swept by Arkansas last weekend. But both these squads also over 500 in conference play. You can argue 2 of the best of the league.
Yeah, look, this is a bounce-back weekend. Rarely is it both teams, but you're certainly going to see it out here today between Alabama and Texas, both trying to get back in the win column in the SEC.
We talked about the stars being big and bright, and that goes for both teams. Let's first talk about Texas. Maybe the best hitting duo in all of the nation, and Aiden Robbins and Carson Tenney, red hot as of late.
I mean, look at this. When you start adding that up with that 33 at-bats between the two and 10 home runs, that's a third of the hits of the at-bats are homers for these guys, and certainly superstars right now and playing at a high level.
Robbins 4 home runs in his last 12 at-bats, and Carson Tenney 6 home runs his last 21 at-bats. Robbins will lead off for the first time this season for Texas in the bottom of the first. But one of the best all-around players in all of the nation featured for the Tide in Justin LeBron.
Man, this is exciting. Man, this guy can do it all. Obviously, as a shortstop, you're in the middle of the field as a great defender. Offensively, he's got the power. Batting average may not be what it's been in the past, but he's got the power. And you know what? He scores a lot of runs.
His numbers are down in this his junior year compared to his first 2 seasons, but still solid and might be playing his best offense of the season coming in. 7-game hit streak. He scored a run in 8 straight games. He will bat second. Top 3 of the order is definitely the power of the Alabama order, and Bryce Fowler, LeBron, and Brady Neal. And they start 3 freshmen, and Eric Hines batting 4th, Caleb Barnett batting 7th, Chase Kroberger will hit 9th for the Crimson Tide. And they will face Dylan Volantis, first Friday start of the season. After 13 days off, he did not pitch last weekend in College Station against Texas A&M.
It's been a while. It's 13 days to get to the mound. The guy loves to do this, and he probably feels about as comfortable anywhere in the world out there on that dirt. And nice getting to hook it up on a Friday night.
2 pitches, 2 strikes from Volantis, and you just saw the numbers, a perfect 4-0 record, an ERA of barely over 2, 57 strikeouts, and 44 in 2/3 innings. Bryce Fowler batting .329. The senior goes down on 3 pitches. A quick start for Volantis and the Longhorns.
Well, 2 things come out of that. One, he gets the strikeout for Volantis, the first hitter of the game, but it also kind of tells you a little bit about Alabama's approach. Swinging at the very first pitches, the first 3, as they get a good look at that breaker for the first time tonight.
Alabama head coach Rob Vaughn told us earlier today, I hope like heck Volantis is as rusty as can be. Did not look like it there in striking out Fowler on 3 pitches. Now here's the superstar matchup with LeBron at the plate. Most players would enjoy the season he's had. .272 batting average, 12 home runs, 32 runs batted in. He's 29 of 29 stealing bases this season. But as mentioned, it is under the numbers that he showed the nation his first 2 years in a Crimson Tide uniform. 18 homers, bat .316 last year, and .350 at the plate his freshman year 2 seasons ago.
Well, you keep putting up those great numbers, people start pitching you different. I mean, that's part of it. And, I mean, look, he's so athletic in the shortstop position, and he's incredibly athletic in the batter's box. But as you mentioned, once he gets on, he starts to create the offense for the team with the stolen bases.
Hitting .310 during his 7-game hit streak, and had a homer Tuesday against UAB, his first since March 22nd. He's worth a 3-1 count against Volantis. Off the glove of the shortstop, Adrian Rodriguez, who is back from injury, and that allows the speedster LeBron to reach base.
Yeah, this ball's hit pretty well. I mean, that's a 3-1 count. He got into a positive hitting count and hit it hard. And there's no telling. It's hard for us to tell infield line drives every once in a while, when they start to come at you, they can be knuckling if you catch it in the rotation. And that may have been what happened. It looked like he was going to be able to make a catch. But you know how it is in the game of baseball. You haven't been out there in a while. The very first thing it's going to do is it's going to try to come find you.
Just his third error of the year, and as you just saw, missed the last 8 games, getting staples out of his hand following off-season hand surgery. And so that allows LeBron to reach, and again, he is 29 for 29 stealing bases this year. Carson Tinney, though, behind the plate for Texas, one of the best in the nation in throwing out would-be base stealers, as Volantis throws down to first.
Well, that's part of the matchup. I mean, that's part of the SEC, but certainly the matchup between these two teams. When you dig in there and you start to find out just how many stolen bases Alabama carries with them at 72 coming in, and a catcher who can defend it.
The count of Vaughn, hitting .375, easily the best in this Crimson Tide squad. Also a team high 13 doubles, 37 runs batted in, an OPS of 1134. He's ahead of the count 3-0.
That's the second 3-ball count for Volantis in a row. And again, the second pitch he threw and the third pitch he threw to the leadoff hitter were balls out of the strike zone. And again, he has not seen the mound in 13 days. That's a long time to not be in a competitive situation from the mound.
Now 3-1. Jim Schlossnagle stressing to all of the media, this is not a sign of things to come. Volantis is starting today because of those 13 days off. He's been the Sunday starter prior. We'll see Ruger Riojas tomorrow and Luke Harrison Sunday as the starters for Texas.
Well, we talked about, you know, the day off and the time off between his last start. Not by design. The weather did it. And look, it's just sometimes it's tough to get that feel back for your pitches.
Neal bunts, and it goes foul. Count now full.
They're trying to create some offense early in this game. Some coaches will look at it when you're facing a guy who's really talented on the mound, which both guys are tonight. If you see something early and maybe you're not able to steal yet because of the left-handed move from Volantis, and maybe he can keep LeBron in check. We'll see if they discover something about Volantis' move as it goes along. So maybe they're trying to just get him up 90 feet early in the game, knowing you don't always get chances off pitchers like this every once in a while, early out opportunities.
Got him. From 3-0, Volantis strikes out Neal looking.
He comes back to his bread and butter. We get another look at this. The 3-2 count. There's that breaker. It's got such great depth to it. Tough to barrel up, and then on those left-handed guys, it starts right at him. Locked him up just a little bit. He thought the ball was off the plate.
So now one of 3 freshmen in the Alabama order, Eric Hines. It's a local product for the Tide from Tuscaloosa. Became a full-time starter just 2 weeks ago, and he has impressed. 2 for 5 Tuesday and a win at UAB. Went 5 for 13 in the Arkansas series. LeBron's going. Tinney's throw to second, and LeBron is now 30 for 30 stealing bases this year.
Yeah, that was he saw something. This was an early jump, meaning he had a great jump. There was no way Tinney was going to be able to throw him out. He either recognized something, David, or he took a gamble. As soon as he picked it up, I'm going to get out of here and go try to steal second base, particularly with 2 outs.
Now in scoring position. That's just the 12th stolen base against Texas this year. To center. Aiden Robbins close to the track and holds it in for the final out. So LeBron reaching on the E6, but is left. Texas coming to bat with Aiden Robbins leading off for the first time this season.
Like, we're going to Omaha, and you guys just need to accept that, and I'm going to take us there.
Really, since the opening weekend of the season, Aiden Robbins has impressed. 15 home runs this year, and the team leader in batting average and in multiple offensive categories. He will lead off today for the first time this season. Ethan Mendoza, who had been the leadoff hitter, bats fifth. After Robbins comes Tenney, and then Adrian Rodriguez coming back from injury. The freshman Anthony Pack Jr. will hit cleanup, and after Mendoza, Tema Becerra, Josh Livingston, Casey Borba, and Darian Pendergrass gets the start in right field tonight.
Most everybody's lineup in college baseball is fluid. That's just the way it is. Hot, not hot, right, left matchup. There's so many different pieces of it. When a coach sits down with, his piece of paper and his pencil with his staff and goes, this is, we're, going to etch this out. Who's going to go where? The beauty of it for Aiden Robbins is if you move him into the leadoff position, David, he gets more at bats. So, right, you got one of the hottest guys hitting, so you're going to give him as many opportunities as possible. And then you move Mendoza down into the 5 position, who has been at times for them a good RBI guy sitting in the leadoff spot. So a lot to discover through your lineup and what that looks like. And they're facing a right-handed sinker ball guy. So there may be some ideas back later on in innings, to put some type of game in motion, running the bases, hit and run, all the above.
Aiden Robbins is the outright lead on the team in 10 offensive categories. He's hitting .362 with 51 hits, 15 home runs, 40 RBIs leads the team. And he swings and misses in the first offering from Tyler Fay, who on March 20th threw a complete game no-hitter against Florida. He walked just 2, struck out 13 in that historic night, just the 9th no-hitter in Alabama program history. He was the first Tide pitcher to throw a complete game 9-inning no-hitter since 1942. You see his numbers overall, 6-2, an ERA of under 4. This angling towards the right field line, and it'll drop fair. Robbins on his way to second, and in his first at bat this season in the leadoff spot, he has a leadoff double.
He just continues. The whole field is his friend. Like, you get a chance to see him pull balls there once in a while, but this is what he does probably as good as anybody in college baseball. That's a 2-seaming sinker running back towards, catches the middle part of the plate, and look at him, hits it off his back leg, let that ball get about as deep as you can allow it to still keep the ball fair.
The 6th double of the season and his 23rd extra base hit. So we talked about in the open how hot Robbins and the man of the plate, Carson Tenney, have been. Tenney, 6 home runs, his last 21 at bats. Fouls the first offering from Fay off. We can talk about Aiden Robbins' numbers pretty much all night. Talked about how he leads Texas in multiple categories, and in the SEC, top 10 in 5 categories.
Yeah, not bad, right? That's pretty good offensive output.
I shortchanged him. Top 8. Better than top 10. Tenney batting .325, tied for second among Texas regulars. The count is 1-1 to the junior from Castle Pines, Colorado. 13 home runs, second behind Tenney, and 32 runs batted in. Strike call.
Now that's a 2-seamer fastball. That's a slider, right? That's a late hard slider, not a huge big breaker like Volantis' breaker's going to be. But what they were doing on Tenney, they were through the first 2 fastballs in on him, trying to trap his barrel a little bit, then setting up what you just saw, that slider away.
Now 2-2. Not just the 6 home runs in the last 21 at-bats for Tenney, but 11 hits overall, hitting .524, in addition to being walked 7 times. Career high 5 runs batted in Tuesday in the win over A&M Corpus Christi. He fouls this off.
He started hitting balls. He brought the whole field into play about a month ago. And when he did that, his power went up. He wasn't hooking balls foul. He wasn't coming up with some of his best swings and pulling balls foul. And now you can set barrel stays flush a little bit longer, which allows you to use your overall strength and power off the bat to all fields.
Lifted, right field. This is carrying, and it's gone.
Well, it wasn't right on cue. I didn't mean for it to come out just like that, but again, it does. He brings the other side of the field into play, and once he started doing that, the power numbers started going up. He's always had that ability and the power to do it, and now he's settled in a comfort level, and most importantly, a confidence to let that ball travel deep and drive it out of the park.
There's a strong wind blowing out to left. So if that was hit to left field, I would have expected it to go out. Initially coming off the bat, I wasn't sure, and that just kept carrying and easily over the right field wall. 2-0 Texas. To begin this 3-game set, and now Adrian Rodriguez at the plate. During Jim Schlossnagle's media availability yesterday, he said he wasn't sure just how much Rodriguez would be available this weekend, but went through a simulated game and obviously good enough not only to get his first start in 9 games, but to bat third in the order.
Yeah, to bat third, and then also the long game is to get him as many at-bats as you can, right? Because you know how good he is, and you know what he's going to be able to do if he can stay healthy, and it really feels good going further into the season.
Looking good there, base hit. 3 hits off Tyler Fay to begin this one in Austin.
Well, just give me a couple of weeks off, and I'm going to come out and I'm going to get a ball down and away from him, still hit it up the middle for a line drive base hit for the first time that I've seen a competitive pitch from another team. Again, it just shows his hitting abilities.
So Rodriguez on first for Anthony Pack Jr. Freshman who began the season in the bottom of the order, now batting cleanup for Jim Schlossnagle. First pitch strike. He's on a 9-game hit streak. And so a lot of times you see freshmen begin to struggle once SEC play begins, not Pack, who's hitting .325, second to Aiden Robbins. Up the middle, LeBron slides over to first. Beautiful play for the out as Rodriguez moves to second.
Well, this is what everybody sees from him. He's so athletic in the shortstop positions. He ranges over to his left. Watch the range, the first step. Watch this. First step, explosion, crossover, and then watch the hop read with the glove halfway up on the turf. He doesn't play on turf every day either. And he comes up with a missile throw from that position to get him at first base.
Does he remind you of anyone defensively at short?
Oh, yeah, a bunch of guys playing in the big leagues.
Now, he will be a first-round pick in the draft in just a couple of months. So Ethan Mendoza, who had led off all season long, moved down to 5th. Numbers solid this season. You see 278, his OPS just barely under 900, and 8 home runs.
Yeah, he's having a hard time executing on the first base side of home plate right now. He's thrown one breaker that he's been able to land for a strike. The rest has been his changeup and fastball been off the plate. And he has to even throw his 2-seamer on that side of the plate as well.
To center, coming in Fowler. It'll drop in front of him. Rodriguez rounds third. 3-0 Texas.
This looked like just an elevated heater that stayed middle. Mendoza does a good job of staying with it. Sometimes when you recognize elevation as a hitter, you get overexcited, David, and you'll try to do too much and maybe hook it or pull it. He does a good job of staying with it and driving it right back up the middle.
Rob Vaughn, Alabama's head coach, told us earlier today when we talked to him, he said, I wish Texas hadn't gotten swept last weekend. I didn't want to have them come in mad. And so far, what a start. 4 hits off of Tyler Fay so far. And Fay's only been able to get 1 out. So far, the change in the batting order has worked for Jim Schlossnagle, moving Robbins to the leadoff spot. He doubled, and Mendoza the RBI single. Here's Tinney's home run.
Yeah, that's an elevated slider. It didn't do it, just hung right there and backed up in the middle part of the plate. And again, his power to all fields, he's now applying. He's using, you know, from foul pole, right field foul pole to the left. I mean, we've seen him hit balls out to center field here as well. But, man, when you got a guy who can sit there and let that ball get that deep, particularly a secondary pitch, just makes him ever so much more dangerous.
Last season at Notre Dame, Tenney's second highest OPS among all Power 4 bats. And at Texas, he's close to the OPS that he had last year with the Irish against better competition. 7th time, Tema Becerra is at 6th in the order this year. Stanford transfer at 297, 5 home runs and 25 runs batted in. This to right. Chase Kroberger comes in to make the grab, and there's 2 down.
If you're Fay in Alabama, you'll find yourself every once in a while just going, somebody hit a pop fly. Just hit a fly ball. Let everybody catch a ball and breathe for a second, right? And catch your breath. And then with that fly ball to right, obviously 2 outs in the inning gives them 1 out of, from getting out of what has been an energetic start to the Longhorn lineups.
It's now Josh Livingston, the DH, hitting 7th in the order tonight. Graduate from Prosper, Texas, batting .268. Really has done a nice job since Adrian Rodriguez was out for those 8 games. So Tyler Fay, we mentioned the no-hitter against Florida at home this season. Huge difference in his SEC starts between home and road, and already giving up 3 runs in the first tonight in Austin.
Well, that's different when you go on the road, as everybody knows, and I can't give you an explanation as to why or what that means. I mean, there is a comfort anytime you're at home, particularly for, I will say this, for a pitcher, because it's the mound you work out on and throw on from fall to spring.
He's only allowed 2 runs in his home starts over 20 innings, and the 3 runs allowed in the first here means 14 runs allowed on the road in 13 2/3. So numbers you saw before the 3 runs allowed here tonight, which has of course made his ERA even higher. Livingston again now starting at DH, played some first base after Adrian Rodriguez went out. He's 4 for his last 9 with a homer and 5 runs batted in. Jim Schlossnagle says he's simply been able to gain confidence, especially beginning to hit to all sides of the field. He's mostly a power hitter at Wichita State last season, 15 home runs. But as he stopped trying for so much power, according to Jim Schlossnagle, it's helped his average overall.
I mean, the pitch dictates often if you're going to hit your power. Okay, you got to have power to hit homers, but oftentimes the pitch creates that moment for you. Well, you won't know if you're chasing pitches or trying to hit pitches below your knees that you may not historically aren't your power pitch. And one of the hardest things to teach a young hitter, which is what you're seeing Aiden Robbins and Carson Tenney do, is understand they have raw power, meaning they can go to the other flagpole, the other foul pole, the opposite side. And once somebody understands that it doesn't have to be a pull side homer, if you have true power, your numbers will go up in homers.
.25 pitches so far for the Alabama ace, a 2-2 count to Livingston with Casey Borba on deck. Shallow right center, and the center fielder Fowler will come in to make the grab, and that will do it in the first. First 3 Texas hitters reach base, and the big hit was Carson Tenney's 2-run home run the opposite way. Texas a quick start at home, 3-0 over the Tide.
We get a look at the first couple strikeouts that we've seen today from Dylan Volantis to the leadoff hitter. You see him using his breaker. Second strikeout again in a 3-2 count, going back to his breaker again. And when you start looking at that usage of his pitches, that 33% curveball, you see why when it's got that kind of bite, and then that cutter he likes to land for strikes early in counts. But it is a lot of spin either way you look at it on that slider and that curveball, and then you see the sinker and the fastball, the two-seamer running away from the right-handed hitters.
Third time he's gotten behind a batter so far today, and it's Luke Vaughn with a 2-0 count, sophomore from Cincinnati, Ohio. Hitting just .216, but an OPS at .844. Over half of his 22 hits are for extra bases, including 6 home runs. Now 2-1.
One of the mysteries of Volantis is you do not know what he's going to throw in a positive hitting count, in a 2-0, 3-1 count, and particularly a 3-2 count. You don't, as a hitter, if you don't have at least an advantage thought about what he might be throwing, it gets hard because you're looking for a pitch, and then obviously in an area too.
Third 3-ball count to an Alabama hitter. Is this something where, as a hitter, you just hope you see him struggle with a couple of pitches, and therefore you think he's going to come with the others in his arsenal?
Yeah, I mean, you can pin pitchers down a little bit if you're willing to go deep into counts.
Third strikeout for Volantis, 1 down in the second.
Yeah, watch the depth on this breaker. I mean, watch this thing. It starts at around 7 feet in the air. Look at that. I mean, it just like somebody shoots it going downhill. It's got so much rotation and spin and vertical to it. I mean, try to imagine trying to get a barrel flush to that at 81 miles an hour.
Closer for Texas last season as they won the SEC regular season crown. 11 saves for Volantis, a freshman record in the league. Freshman of the year in the SEC and a consensus All-American. And the third baseman, Jason Torres. That's foul. Hitting .243, senior from Hialeah, Florida. Slumping coming in, though, 1 for 16 in his last 4 SEC games. 4 homers this year, had 11 in 2025.
One of the things, too, that for Volantis, his sequence, he rarely shows you the same thing in back-to-back at-bats, meaning one hole hitter, 2-hole hitter, and then even individually, he rarely shows you a same sequence. And the beauty of it for him is that even when he is down in the count, 2-0, 3-1, 3-2s, you still don't have, he doesn't sequence that as what you did the last at bat. You might have got him in a 3-1 count, he threw you a breaker, and you hit it or put it in play or got a hit, whatever. The next time it's going to be something different he's going to attack you with.
Crowd wanted it, but Eddie Newsom says ball 2.
Yeah, it looked like it was maybe just off the edge.
Strikeout number 4.
Loves to use his breaker for strikeouts. Not this time. He's coming at you with a 92-mile-an-hour fastball. Watch this thing right here. 2-seamer down and away. That ball just runs away from those right-handed hitters. Tough to get to it. Starts in the strike zone and then runs out of it.
So now Caleb Barnett, whose first collegiate start came 3 days ago. Had a bases clearing double in the win over UAB and now faces Dylan Volantis and is behind 0-1. He's 2 for 5 at the plate this season with that double and 5 runs batted in.
Nothing is straight. Nothing is straight. I mean, it's just 2 different directions. 2 different depths, 4 different velocities.
1-2. An Alabama team coming in batting .268 as a squad. But they've walked quite a bit and hit 70 times. Dylan Volantis strikes out the side.
I'll tell you what, you get a chance to watch this. This ball starts around the hit and letter area and then absolutely falls off the table.
And Rodriguez both scoring in the 3-run first for Texas as we head to the bottom of the second. Longhorns over the Tide 3-0. Talent abound for both these squads. As we look at the Major League Baseball draft prospect rankings, according to Kyler McDaniel of ESPN, of course, Justin LeBron ranked number 5, and then 3 Longhorns. Aidan Robbins projected to be a first-round pick. Ruger Riojas, Carson Tinney, 70 and 72.
And still moving up, I think. That's just a personal opinion. I think those guys are all starting to elevate themselves draft stock-wise with every moment. It's such a true read for scouts, which there are a bunch of them here tonight. A lot of guys walking around with backpacks, and they're all scouts with all their information in the back of it. But the reality is an SEC is an evaluating tool for that because it's so similar to AA baseball and having to face velo and wipe out breakers.
Off the bat of Casey Borba, LeBron on a hop, and a nice job by Luke Vaughn to haul it in for out number 1.
You just got a chance to look at one of them deep from the 6 hole. He was lined up and fields this ball behind the shortstop. Third baseman, and throws it all the way across.
I don't know what Kyler McDaniel knows, but having Carson Tinney down 20 spots in the midseason compared to the preseason raised my eyebrow. LeBron's going to be a first-round pick. Aidan Robbins looks like he has moved his way up to that point. And as you said, Ruger Riojas moving up as well. Wasn't even ranked in the preseason.
Must have missed that opposite field bomb. He just hit 7 home runs in the last 7 games, maybe. Maybe that had something to do with it.
So you're saying Kylie should get a mulligan?
Yeah.
Darian Pendergrass getting the start. He shined Tuesday in his first start as a Longhorn. 1 for 2, 3 runs batted in, also a walk, sac fly. Carson Tinney said he was super proud of him, and Jen Schlossnagel after the game just said he can bring a different dynamic to our offense, but also defensively, a lot of speed he brings in right field.
When you're talking about having to close down on balls when the wind's blowing like this, or open your hips and really run after a ball and get after it, or sit there and take one off the shoulder right there and run on down to first base and get your 90 feet and take a free base, which is not easy to do, have an object as hard as a baseball thrown at your shoulder and be willing to stand in there.
So the graduate Pendergrass at first, and top of the order, and Aidan Robbins, who got the bottom of the first, started with an opposite field double. He had 4 home runs in the 2 games in College Station last weekend, went 5 for 8 overall. That home run, or rather double in the first, is 6 of the season. And we mentioned 8 home runs in SEC games this year.
There was so much fanfare chasing him getting in here that, you know, I mean, it's been so well documented over and over and over, but the 10 days that he traveled around making all of his visits, and I mean, he chose a place that it fits for him.
LeBron on to second to get Pendergrass, and to first in time. 6-4-3 double play to end the bottom of the second.
Get a chance. Here we get a chance to look at this. When LeBron is a shortstop and turn the double play over to his right side. Good enough. Feed to the second baseman over to first base to complete the double play.
We had to wait 13 days between Dylan Volantis starts, and he has been dominant the first 2 innings time.
Yes, he really has been. That breaker's been where it has been for him before, able to command it, and then also to get a ton of swing misses.
First pitch swinging off the bat of Brennan Holt, and Aidan Robbins is there. 1 pitch, 1 down, and the top of the 3rd. Only tied batter to reach base so far. Justin LeBron off an E6 as the liner bounced off the glove of the shortstop Adrian Rodriguez. Besides that, 5 strikeouts and 2 fly ball outs to center for Volantis.
The 8 hitters faced, only one hitter so far, and that was LeBron, took a strike. They've taken some pitches, right? They've taken some change-ups and breakers and other pitches, assorted pitches out of the strike zone, but only one hitter so far has stood in there and taken a strike.
So Chase Kroberger, one of the 3 freshmen in the Tide lineup today. Hitting 2 for 21, but with a home run, the OPS just under 500. We're told he's the 2nd fastest player on this squad behind LeBron. Count 2-1 with the top of the order on deck and Bryce Fowler.
Back-to-back cutters. He gets behind in the count 2-0. He deals a 2-0 cutter in there. Comes right back to it again. This one had a little bit more depth to it than the one before. And the swing over the top.
It's the first time through the order 4 Alabama hitters have been able to get to 3 ball counts. Full count to Kroberger. Call strike 3. Strikeout number 6.
If you're a hitter, what are you looking for? 2 strikes. He's thrown so many breakers, right? This is talking about that sequence, that he changes the sequence hitter to hitter, doesn't get into the same. This time he goes with that fastball in to lock him up. Looking for a breaker. He got the other side of it, and that was the fastball.
Bryce Fowler swung and missed the first 3 pitches from Volantis to get this game going. He's at the plate now.
I think Alabama's game plan was to try to swing early. The pitches they've taken have been out of the strike zone. I think they've been trying to go, hey, let's try to get after him early in counts when he's trying to land strikes, as opposed to all of a sudden you take a bunch, you find yourself in 2-strike counts, then the zone expands and you start really, feeling having to get over aggressive to protect the plate and the strikeout.
Shift to the right side of the infield with Fowler at the plate. He's ahead now 2-1. Breakout season for him, batting .329, 5 home runs. And another 3-ball count, now 3-1 here. In the 3 series that Alabama has won, Fowler all total has hit just under 500. Just went 2 for 12 last weekend against Arkansas as the Razorbacks swept the Tide in Tuscaloosa. And Fowler reaches via the base on balls, and we'll see LeBron here with 1 on in the 3rd.
Well, for Alabama, that's what they need right now. I mean, that Fowler also a base stealing threat, 14 or 16 of stolen bases, and then you've got your power guy coming in behind you with a 2-out walk. And one thing about it's been deceiving about Alabama's offense, even though their batting average is .268 going into tonight, they score runs. They find ways. Now the +90 stealing bases, getting hit by pitches, but they do score runs. They find ways.
That an errant throw away from Borba. Fowler makes the turn at second and on his way to 3rd. He's 90 feet away from the Tide's first run.
Volantis let this ball go arm side. And once that happens and misses behind a runner, that ball's going to ricochet and go out towards right field. We get another look at this. Watch, he goes arm, misses arm side with it. Borba's not able to get through the runner to get to it. At that point, Fowler's just going to put his head down and run to 3rd base.
Oh, and 1 to LeBron, who reached on an E6 his first time up. 32 runs batted in, 2nd to Brady Neal, who's on deck. 12 home runs, easily leads the team. Big cut, 0-2.
Big cut at a big breaker. Watch that coming from 7 foot, high in the air, and that breaker just running straight downhill.
Appeal to first. Justin LeBron strikes out. Fowler left on third. Alabama down 3-0. We'll talk to Tide head coach Rob Vaughn when we return. As we head to the bottom of the third, and we're joined now by Crimson Tide head coach Rob Vaughn. Coach, with Ty Harrington, I'm David Salzman. So Tyler Fay, of course, gave up the 3 early runs, but just allowing one hit since. Your thoughts on his outing so far?
Yeah, I mean, the game's just a little fast for him in the first there. You know, we've kind of well documented when T-Fay's sinker's at the bottom, it's as good as it gets. It's a lot of ground balls. And you're just kind of running through it a little bit, and you see, like, some of those heaters up, the heater to Robbins, heater to Tenney early, just elevated. And when you got a sinker ball that elevates, it flattens out on him a little bit. But did a good job in the bottom of that inning, getting back to the bottom last inning, executed a really good changeup there to Robbins to get that big double play.
Coach, a lot of people don't know this, probably, that we'll watch this play, the base hit into left field. You grew up in Texas, so you are kind of a Texan, even though you're living in Alabama now. It's got to be fun for you to come back into the great state of Texas.
Yeah, no doubt. Grew up just outside of Houston and played here and played at Kansas State, so I played here twice. I played here my sophomore year and then again my senior year. So, man, been in the stadium a lot, but I hadn't been in here since 2009. So, always good to get back home and get back in the great state of Texas. But, man, we got a good game going here. So, Volantis, man, you're supposed to be rusty after about a week and a half off, and that dude ain't rusty right now. So, we're going to have to get a big 0, hold him at bay, and then go lock horns with him the rest of the way.
Rob, good luck the rest of the way. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, thank you, guys.
Rob Vaughn, who, you mentioned grew up in Humboldt, just outside Houston. He wanted to play at Texas A&M like his father, Eddie, but he told us it wasn't good enough. So he went to Kansas State, and then you fast forward to 2018. He became the youngest head coach in the Power 5 when he got the head job at Maryland at the age of 29. By 2021, he had the Terps in the regionals, and in 2022 and 2023, Maryland won the Big Ten. Third season at Alabama now.
I just remember this. He's young because I remember through the recruiting process knowing who he was, and I just now I realized I was like, my gosh, he was 20. He was 29 when he got his first head coaching job in Division I base in the Big Ten. I mean, it's not like my first job was a junior college job and head coaching position. I mean, that's a huge step.
He elevated the Maryland program to a conference title and really has elevated the Alabama program, ranked number 11 overall and number 5 in the RPI. Former head coach at Maryland. He's been to 5 straight regionals between the Terps and the Crimson Tide. They won their first 16 games last year and won over 40 for the first time in a few years.
Well, there's a lot to life that people are successful at young ages. Some people pick up on things. He is a baseball person. I mean, his rhythm in life outside of his family, his rhythm in life is the game of baseball, and he understands it. He's good at it, has a tremendous approach to it, and it shows on the field. I mean, he just went on and on. It was so much fun talking to him today. He just went on and on about how much he enjoys his players, being around them, how he loves coaching them. It is a very personal, up-close head coach with his players about their life and what they're doing on the field.
He says they're a group of bar fighters. They're tough kids, and that's my favorite thing about them. This the opposite way off the bat of Rodriguez, and that'll fall in front of the left fielder Hines. Back-to-back hits to begin the third.
I think there was probably some questions about why he's going to come into the 3-hole after being out for a couple weeks. As you see this flare down the left field line, and he's able to drop it right in front of the left fielder. But he took 3 swings, David, in that at-bat that were full all-out swings that a couple of weeks ago. The pain was so much for him. After those swings, he couldn't. I mean, it was hard to watch, but he's just so tough. But now he's letting that barrel fly.
Top 3 in the order are 5 for 6. Anthony Pack, the cleanup hitter tonight, reached on a fielder's choice his first time up. First pitch strike.
There's a lot of things you can love about this hitter and Anthony Pack, but for being a young freshman hitter, when you start talking about his free base and strikeout ratios,
Ripped base hit to right. Tinney being held at third. Bases are loaded with no one out.
And a short swing like this. I mean, this ball gets middle part of the plate, middle end to him. He gets that barrel and turns and burns on it and drives it right back through or to the right side on a line drive. But what's impressive is, he's got 27 free bases between walks and hit batsmen and 22 strikeouts. If you have more free bases than strikeouts, you're in an elite group. That doesn't happen that often in college baseball.
And as a freshman.
Yes, what, 19 years old? I mean, he's out here in a league now that the average age is almost 22 years old.
10-game hit streak now for Pack. 16 hits overall during the streak, and that leads to a mound visit with pitching coach Jason Jackson. Bases loaded, no one out, 3 singles to begin the bottom half of the third for Texas.
If you had a Crimson Tide right now, you'd love for Faye to find some way to get a double play, a pop-up, a strikeout, then a double play, something to try to slow this momentum down.
And if you're LSU, you're just hoping for wins. They're 6-9 in league play. What a shock. And Texas A&M, after winning 2 over Texas last weekend, 9-5. Game 2 of the big 3-game series at the Box in Baton Rouge comes tomorrow, 8 Eastern, 7 Central on SEC Network and the ESPN app. I don't know if there's anyone who would have said, yeah, LSU will be 6-9 halfway through the conference slate.
Well, I'm going to answer part of that after this pitch, and it's just a personal thought. Well, that's a little bit better two-seamer there. That ball's extension side. He was able to get that ball, that two-seamer off the outer half of the plate and run it back in. But when you win a national championship, oftentimes there's a reason for it, and that's the personnel, the great players, older players. And because of that, when you win titles like that, and I think every coach would tell you the majority of national championships, not conference championship, national titles and in conference titles, like I said, throw it in there too, is you have older players. So you lose them. So the next year, it's hard to reload that fast, even though the portal allows you to reload faster than before.
To the right side, Holt to LeBron on to first, 4-6-3. The double play, but Tinney scores, and it's 4-0 Longhorns.
The Crimson Tide was looking for just this very thing. They were going to give up a run and play their middle back to try to gain a double play, and they do. You see a routine 4-6-3. LeBron doing a good job of finishing it off. That's a big pitch right there to get him a double play. To maybe now they're 1 out away from trying to get out of this bases loaded, what was the bases loaded jam.
Now Tema Becerra, who flew out to right his first time up.
He threw the two-seamer to Mendoza, extension side, where he was able to really get in and carry that ball further and had a lot more action at the bottom of it. And those two 93-mile-an-hour fastballs down and away, those are hard to barrel up.
1-1 on a fastball. Texas 7 hits off Faye. Of course, they had a no-hitter March 20th against Florida. That really got Alabama going. They were 0-3 at the time in SEC play. That win began a streak of 8 wins in 9 games. 1-2. They were 8-4 before being swept by Arkansas at home last weekend, and the Tide had leads in all 3 of those games.
What is it every weekend that you hear every coach say? There's such a thin margin of winning and losing in the SEC. You could get swept and play decent baseball.
When you look at the strength of the league, I mean, Alabama's 8-7 in league play. And their RPI is in the top 5. 12-4 in their last 16, despite being swept by Arkansas last weekend, including 8 wins over top 25 foes. Appeal to first, and strike called, says Ben Levin, as Becerra goes around, and that'll do it in the bottom of the third. So first 3 reach for Texas, but Tyler Fay limits the Longhorns to a run, 4-0 Longhorns. Tonight, 4 runs, 7 hits through 3 innings, but it's been the Dylan Valantis show on the mound for Texas so far.
Watch this. This is at 7 feet that they starts that breaker, and it just comes roaring out of the clouds. And watch the depth of this, and try to imagine trying to see that 33% of those breakers in his use. Try to imagine trying to get a barrel to the middle of that baseball when it spins like that, and then on top of it, oh, by the way, when I need to, it's 92 to 95.
First pitch foul back. Oh, and a fan caught it holding his child in his left arm. Does he have eligibility?
Oh, I love it.
We've seen some great grabs at Dish Falk Field this season. This may be the best one.
Look at it. He goes down, gets in a catching position. He'll have a video of that with his kid for the rest of his life.
That's a Sports Center top 10 right there. I mean,
you can't get this at a football game, right? This is the beauty of baseball right here.
Yeah, the kid had the glove, and the dad says, let me show you how to do it barehanded.
Oh, you got to love baseball, particularly college baseball.
Look, I'd have a smile ear to hear. He looks like, yeah, that was no big deal. It was a big deal, sir. Way to go. 0-2 the count.
He might have just got a text from his wife saying, you're babysitting?
Oh, Robbins might have misjudged that ball, and it falls in front of him. Neal has the first hit off Volantes tonight.
I think he was going to have a hard time catching this ball.
Yeah.
I mean, that would have been a dead-ahead dive, which is one of the hardest catches to make. So get another look at it. I just think this ball was blistered pretty good in the middle. Yeah, that ball stung pretty good. He did a good job of knocking it or keeping it in his glove. Yes, that part he probably maybe should have lagged back a little bit, but he's so aggressive and wants to catch everything he can.
Yeah, good call there. He thought about it and then had the wherewithal to back off and make sure that ball didn't get behind him.
Yeah, and the athleticism to catch that on the hop, because it was an in-between hop, the hardest one to grab.
No swing, says Ben Levin, and the count is 1-1 to the freshman Eric Hines. So first hit off Volantes today, a single, which continues a trend we've seen the last few weeks. It's just so hard for teams to put together innings against Volantes, especially when he has his control. Count now 1-2. 13 days ago was his last appearance, the rubber game at South Carolina. He retired the first 12 Gamecocks, allowed 2 hits in 5 2/3, 1 single. Now, 1 was a home run. But the start prior against Oklahoma March 28th, he allowed 9 hits, all singles. And then before that at Auburn March 22nd, allowed 3 hits, all singles. And he strikes out Hines for his 8th K of the night.
Well, that home run you were just talking about and describing was his only home run he's given up, I think. And we get another look at this strikeout, David. A breaker again. You see it starts above the strike zone, then you start to recognize it. Oh, that's going to be in the strike zone, and then it just run and hides.
You're correct. The only homer he allowed was at South Carolina in his last start. He's allowed 7 extra base hits all year. So he's allowed 34 hits overall, 27 singles, 6 doubles, 1 home run, and 48 innings.
It's hard to elevate those breakers. That's what I mean. It's just hard to get to the middle of it. I'm not saying it can't be done. It can. But it's just hard to consistently get to the middle or even the bottom of that breaker when you've got your timing set up perfectly to be able to drive the ball out. And again, does not say it can't be done. He just makes it challenging for you.
Into the glove of Volantes, on to Mendoza, to Borba. 1-4-3 double play, and that'll do it in the 4th for Alabama.
PFP at its finest right here. First of all, you got to throw a pitch to get a ground ball right back at you. As we get another look at it right here. Ground ball back to Volantes, sets his feet, throws a perfect strike to Mendoza, second to Borba, for an inning double play.
He's told us multiple times this season, look, you just want to get through SEC play. If you can get 15 wins, you're golden. And look how tough it has been. Georgia in first, but with 5 losses, 11-5. Texas A&M even in the loss column, but 2 fewer wins. And Alabama 8-7 coming into tonight.
life is tough in the SEC. I mean, it just it humors me when everybody goes, well, there's a big game this weekend. There's a big game. There's 7 of them or whatever. I mean, it's unbelievable when you start reading off the matchups every weekend. You know, you brought up the A&M LSU, and, you know, A&M coming off of 2 games of beating Texas. Well, now they got to go to LSU, which is a pretty big rival for A&M with LSU. And, you know, and then you got a scuffling LSU team who's, you know, we talked about a minute ago, who's last year won a national title, lost a lot of great players off that team. But don't ever count them out. I mean, their pedigree lives, and that's just, you don't win national titles and go to Omaha and not have, you know, a lot of pride and pedigree with it.
2-2 to count to Josh Livingston with Borba and Pendergrass due up here in the bottom of the 4th. You have Florida and Auburn. In fact, Auburn has defeated Florida already 5-3 to even that series. This lifted into the glove of Holt, and there's one down. So we have the state of the SEC this season. We're midway through the conference slate. For the first time since 2019, no teams are ranked in D1 baseball's top 3. That's simply because of the standings we just saw. I mean, the top of the league is 5 losses. Every team has at least 1 series loss, and right now D1 baseball has 3 SEC squads among its top 8 seeds.
Well, you got to add in that they're heavyweight fighting every weekend right now. They're not playing some other teams that you know that they're probably going to beat. You're in it. I mean, every weekend is just a 12-round heavyweight fight. And so you're going to have some teams that lose games, and going back to that thin margin of loss or win in the SEC, is that you're going to have some teams that, you know, you could get swept or lose a series. If that ball goes out of play, that if they were, you know, playing somebody, they're not going to lose that series. I mean, it's just how tough this league is, and particularly when you go on the road.
And then how unexpected some series results can be, even sweeps. I mean, no one expected Arkansas to go into Tuscaloosa and sweep Alabama last weekend. Tennessee swept Mississippi State in Starkville. Just a couple of those examples. Tennessee's trailing Ole Miss at home 6-2. Borba has a base hit to center. That's good to see. Down to the 8th spot. It's his 2nd hit his last 6 SEC games. Let's see if I can get him going.
Well, he gets that slider in the middle of the plate, does exactly what you want to do when you see a slider there, is go right back through the box with it, meaning right over the pitcher's head as he hits a line drive. It's a good job of staying on that slider long enough. FaZe, to me, hasn't been able to execute that slider away from the right-handed hitters as successful tonight yet.
8th hit for Texas to 1 for the Tide. Jim Schlossnagle hoping for his 8th career appearance in Omaha with his 3rd different team. He's had plenty to smile about so far tonight. 5 appearances in Omaha at TCU, 2 with Texas A&M. Pendergrass is on for the 2nd time. Borba on his way to 3rd. Throw cut off. Runners are on the corners.
This is a nice job of hitting. This is the beauty of having a guy on first base in front of you as a left-handed hitter, which is why a lot of left-handed hitters, you know, average-wise can go up if they utilize this to the right side. And as soon as that ball was hit, Borba was on his way to 3rd base, and Pendergrass, he comes around first base looking, hunting that baseball, trying to see elevation on the relay throw, trying to get to 2nd. And LeBron did a good job of cutting it off and almost made a throw back to first base.
That was a hit in just Pendergrass's 3rd official at bat all year. I love stories like his. First pitch to Aiden Robbins is off his foot foul, and it's 0-1.
Well, we got the ball's dead.
Pendergrass.
Plate umpire blew it.
Pendergrass will be allowed to go back. He spent his first 2 seasons, did Pendergrass, of his college career at NAIA Spartanburg Methodist. Then transferred to the College of Charleston, where he was CAA honorable mention last season. Had 43 stolen bases, hit almost 300. And then waited out his recruitment after going into the transfer portal. He said, a few small schools hit me up, but I wanted to wait. And then Jim Schlossnagle called him at the end of the fall, and Pendergrass took the opportunity to come to Austin. And he has made an impact in his last 2 games. Had 3 RBIs in the win Tuesday over A&M Corpus Christi. And again, a threat to run 43 stolen bases last season at the College of Charleston. He has 1 so far this year.
You get your chance, you got to do something, and so far he's been able to take advantage of it, and certainly being able to add some speed on the bases and be able to grab plus 90 at any base is helpful.
Ooh, Robbins gets plunked. As he'll move over to first. Bases loaded.
This breaker got away from Fay. Oh no, it's a two-seamer. It ran in on him. I'm sorry, got him right in the forearm too. That's painful. That's 93 right in your forearm.
And this crowd realizing Carson Tenney had a 2-run blast the opposite way. His first time up, he's 2 for 2 today. Can really break this game open now. Bases loaded, 1 out. Strike call. Second straight inning. The Longhorns have loaded the bases. They were just able to get 1 run in the third. There are 3 runs in the first off the 2-run blast by Carson Tenney and an RBI single by Ethan Mendoza.
Another foul ball right there at home plate.
This was his blast in the first inning to get the Longhorns on the board.
Yeah, that slider just hung out there. I thought he thought it was a heater. It looked like that ball was trying to move right to left, and it may have been. Whichever one, it was elevated. Good to see the home run dance through the dugout.
1-0-1 off the bat. That was to right field. Wind is whipping out to left. 1-2. Seven home runs his first 29 games. And that home run earlier today is his 7th since. 14 now on the year. Oh, called strike 3. Tenney goes down. There's 2 out.
Yeah, that's a tough pitch. That's that extension side fastball he's been trying to gain some confidence in. This is tough on right-handed hitters. Two-seamer away, runs down, back towards your kneecaps. Height-wise, but it's off the plate when it comes out of his hand and just comes cutting back.
So now up to Adrian Rodriguez, who has 2 singles in his return after missing 8 games. First pitch ball. Played in a simulated game yesterday and obviously did well enough to get the start, be in the 3 spot in the order for Jim Schlossnagle here tonight.
He swung pain-free in his first at bat, and really in his second at bat, where he took 3 swings where he fouled some balls off. They were big hack, stronger hacks than what he's been able to take prior to them, going back and getting his hand fixed.
The opposite way, Hines comes in and makes the grab for the final out. And so after loading the bases, Fay able to get out of the jam. Still 4-0 Longhorns. Well, of course, the SEC has been so dominant in the recent years. Last 6 national champions, LSU, Tennessee. At least 1 team has been in the championship series in 16 of the last 17 years. Also the SEC with the last 3 Golden Spikes Award winners. And we've seen the talent on display here today. Aiden Robbins, who leads Texas in most offensive categories with a double to get it started for Dylan Volantis and company. Robbins will later score, and Justin LeBron really flashing the glove out in short. One of the top Major League Baseball prospects in the nation. Last 10 times in Omaha, the SEC has had 13 appearances in the final. So at times they've had both teams in the championship series. 7 titles, while the rest of Division I has won 3 of the last 10 national championships.
Baseball is and has been real in the SEC. I had a good time watching the summer of '83. I mean, a lot of those guys, fortunately for me, some of those guys ended up being my teammate and got a good understanding. I was there as a high school after my high school senior year and signed with Texas and went up to Omaha that year. And
At the bat of Torres, Rodriguez. That's his first throw to first today and successful to get Torres for the first down.
I loved looking at the old uniforms. I mean, it was fun for me. It was nostalgically a great show for multiple reasons. Old Rosenblatt and, you know, and just watching it, you know, each of the teams, you know, interview so many people, and you heard the, you know, winning was important to both programs. Alabama was just on the rise. Texas had been one of the better programs all along and much more tradition and expected to be in Omaha. They thought they were going to win the year before, but that was an expectation when you chose to come to Texas at that time in the era of baseball, and still is.
And of course, you're referring to the Summer of '83 documentary, which was debuted on SEC Network on Wednesday. And these two squads, Texas and Oklahoma, played. There was no championship series back then, but they played in the final game. Alabama had to beat Texas twice, but did not, as Texas went undefeated. Calvin Schiraldi, Roger Clemens and company bringing home the 1983 national championship. And the talent on that field, Dave Magadan hit .525 and won the Golden Spikes Award as a member of the Crimson Tide in 1983. And Clemens, Schiraldi, Magadan, just three of the many great names that played in the 1983 College World Series. Barry Larkin, before he became a Major League Hall of Famer, he was the shortstop for Michigan.
Yeah, there was a bunch of guys that were involved in that. Incaviglia was too, Bonds, and McDowell. There was just so many, you know, great players involved that year.
Yeah, Barry Bonds played for Arizona State, and Alabama beat him twice in Omaha.
Well, Dave Magadan was landing on lasers all that whole time. I mean, it was, I mean, it's such a unique hitting stance too. It was interesting and fun to watch. But you know, Mike Brumley, who they interviewed, God rest his soul, passed away not too far after that.
Barnett strikes out. Volantis took something off, and that's the 9th strikeout for Volantis tonight.
Yeah, we're going to give another look at this. I mean, it just, both sides of the plate, he's able to spin this ball. This thing's going straight downhill. I mean, seriously, that thing's spinning. You got to be almost able to hear it. It's rotating so hard in the wind. And I mean, it just literally falls, shoots off the table.
Now Brendan Holt, 0-1. He flew out to center his first time up, 0 for 1. I loved watching Dave Magadan and those highlights. That was old school to me. Of course, all the focus on OPS and power, and understandably so. But back then, as you said, Magadan just hits the opposite way, ropes to right. Couldn't get him out, even in the College World Series. And again, .525 is batting average.
Think about the complete games. Those guys were throwing too. Schiraldi, Clemens were throwing complete games.
Roger Clemens threw the complete game in the 4-3 win over Alabama, which clinched the national championship. But he was not named to the all-tournament team. Calvin Schiraldi was. He got 2 wins in Omaha. Actually came on in relief and shut down Alabama in the first meeting between those two squads in 1983, which the Longhorns won in extra innings. I think people forget, for as dominant as Texas was in 1983, and again, they didn't lose in Omaha, there were a lot of games that came down to the wire, and the Longhorns just found ways to win them.
Yeah, I mean, you go back to 82 team, 83 team played for the national title. The 84 team, my friend, we played for the title. 85 played for the title. 87 got beaten in the semis. And then 89 played for the championship as well.
0-2 the count to Holt. Another strikeout. Dominant Dillon. 10 strikeouts. 1 shy of a career high. And we're just halfway through.
Get another look at it. Breakers, fastballs, every side of the plate. Dylan Volantis is able to land all of them for strikeouts.
Dylan Volantis knows that he has been on fire here tonight. 10 strikeouts, just allowing a hit, and he has walked 1. And the bats have done the job for the Longhorns. 3 in the first, 1 in the third, a 4-0 Texas lead over Alabama as we head to the bottom half of the fifth. Well, you said it, Ty. Really, every SEC series has some implications, be it for conference lead, be it to make a regional, get a national seed, and always a fun slate. Auburn defeated Florida already to even that series in Gainesville. Ole Miss looking to hold off Tennessee. Rebels up 7-4, bottom 7. Georgia and Arkansas after the Hogs won last night. 1-0 Bulldogs top of the third. And Texas A&M after scoring 20 against Texas in their 2 wins last weekend in College Station. They lead at the box in Baton Rouge over LSU 6-2 in the 6th.
If Ole Miss holds on and wins, they're playing pretty good right now. I mean, they're able to score late. I think their pitching's gotten better. Their bullpen's gotten. I think they've got some guys back healthy on the mound. It'll be a fun series to watch, but you find yourself saying about all of them.
Pack fouls this off, and it's 0-2 to the freshman to begin the 5th. In terms of national ranking, the biggest game nationally is in the ACC. Number 2 Georgia Tech at number 3 North Carolina. Tar Heels lead 5-2, bottom 8. But I mean, the SEC, you get these series between high-ranked teams each and every weekend. Tailing towards the left field line, and that's going to fall in between 3 tied players. Pack is standing at second to lead off the 5th.
I think you got 2 defenders that had a chance to come catch this ball. I thought LeBron was going to be the first choice to have an opportunity to catch it. And then you get a look at Hines coming in from left field. He starts to decelerate and slow down. If there was a miscommunication, see him right there. And LeBron moved to the right of it. I don't know if he thought Hines was coming out from left field. And so I think there was a breakdown on the communication between the two.
That's a freshman in Hines who's just been a starter the last 2 weeks. They rule it a double for Pack since no one touched the baseball. But obviously that's a defensive error, and that has been the bugaboo for Alabama these last couple of weeks. They won at UAB Tuesday 12-6, but committed 6 errors. In fact, Rob Vaughn said we're inventing ways to make those errors. And before that, they had 2 errors in each of the 3 losses to Arkansas, 6 total. So 12 errors the last 4 games coming into tonight.
Well, one of the things about errors, too, that you got to remember, if it's an infield error, most of the time it's 1 base. It's an outfield error, it's 2 bases, more times than not.
At the bat of Mendoza, LeBron charging to first. Oh, what a play. He has flashed the leather all night long and is showing why he is the biggest prospects in the next Major League Baseball draft in a couple of months. What a play here.
Wow, here we go. He's got to close down the distance on his ball. It's a high hopper, slow hopper. He knows he's got to come get it one-handed, right foot down on the ground, off balance, running towards home plate, and he's able to navigate his arm to throw the perfect strike over to first. Look how quick the transition was from his glove to his throwing hand to get Mendoza at first base.
I'm a big Astros guy, so maybe I'm a little biased. That gave me Carlos Correa vibes, the long strides and then still be able to have enough strength to fire it to first like he did. Off the bat at Temo Becerra, this to right. Kroberger makes the catch. Pack tagging from third, slides in safely, and it's 5-0 Longhorns.
Get a look at taking advantage of the fly ball to lead off with Pack getting up to second base. Mendoza doing a good job finding a way to get him to third base. And when you get a guy 90 feet away and you're trying to extend your lead, or even if you're chasing, you've got to get him in. They get the fly ball to right field to get the speedy Pack to score from third.
Second sac fly for Becerra this year, 26th RBI. And the Longhorns, after loading the bases in the 3rd and 4th, only getting a run in. That in the 3rd, able to tack some insurance on in the 5th off Fay. Now Josh Livingston, the DH, he's 0 for 2. And behind the count, 0-2.
Fay going to that bigger breaker. He's been mainly sliders. That was his curveball. He started the fastball. The 0-0 pitch was fastball in to Livingston, and then he throws that breaker on that same line.
To right, hesitating initially, but coming in Kroberger to make the catch for the final out. So the Horns manufacture the run. Leadoff double by Pack, moving to third on the ground out and scoring on the sac fly by Becerra. Game, Dylan Valenta struck out Bryce Fowler on 3 pitches, and that was a sign of things to come, Ty Harrington. 10 strikeouts through 5 for the sophomore.
It's been dynamite with that pitch right there with such depth and vertical to it. And I swear I think those guys could probably hear that thing spinning. He spins that thing so hard. But he's been able to go to both sides of the plate with all of his pitches and has finished a couple guys with his fastball as well.
As the freshman Kroberger to lead off the 6th. On top of the order with Fowler and Justin LeBron. Kroberger, one of those 10 strikeouts from Valenta so far tonight. Valenta struck out 11 Ole Miss batters March 15th in an 8-2 win. That's his career high, so he's 1 off tying the career high and 2 from a new one. Pitch number 70 of the night here. Swing and a miss, 2-1.
He likes that 2-0 cutter when he gets behind. He's got such confidence in it. Doesn't break big. Does just enough to get off a barrel if it's swung at. It's confusing for the hitters that are looking for a fastball.
Kroberger couldn't lay up. 2-2 now.
And that slider with that spin so hard, and he throws it hard enough and attacks it, it disguises his breaker when he goes to it.
Strikeout number 11. He's tied his career high with 1 out in the 6th.
Yeah, I mean, it's just, he throws a cutter before, a slider before. It's tighter. It's at 10 feet. Look at this, and it just, you're a hitter. You've got to try to figure out how to get the barrel of the baseball in the middle of that baseball, in the middle of that as it's roaring downhill. That's why you see so many guys swing over the top of it, miss it, or nick the top of the baseball and hit ground balls like that.
Off the bat of Fowler, Rodriguez slides to his left, up and throws, and it gets away from Borba. I think they'll call it a single anyway, but a heck of an effort from the Texas shortstop as Fowler reaches base for the 2nd time.
Yeah, that was getting one of those well-placed ground balls back up the middle. Did get to the top of it. Rodriguez does a good job of getting to his feet. I think they're going to get him all the way to second base. I think that ball went in the dugout.
So Fowler will move over to second. Reaching on the single, and then the 3rd Texas there, and the 2nd from Rodriguez tonight. So Fowler in scoring position for Justin LeBron. He reached on an error in the 1st and is 0 for 2. Every tied hitter has struck out at least once. LeBron did in the 3rd. Foul back 0-2.
And then he invents a pitch in the middle of the game. He steps back across his body and throws the ball 3/4 arm slide. Now, I've seen him do it. I mean, he does it every once in a while, but to one of the best players in baseball, and certainly one of the top prospects, he just decides to throw that one that nobody's seen yet.
1-2. Up the middle, that's Mendoza charging and no play. Quick throw to 3rd, and that's a nice job by Becerra to prevent it from going behind him. But for the first time tonight, the Tide have multiple runners on base, runners on the corners with 1 out.
Now, baseball right here, the ground ball before with the base hit was a strategically placed ground ball. This one the same way by LeBron, not hit good. It's one of those soft ground balls, high hoppers that you know Mendoza had only one choice, and that was to barehand the ball. And even with the barehanding of the ball, he was not going to be able to get a speedy LeBron going down first base.
Max Wiener, first conference on the mound for the Longhorns here today. One thing Rob Vaughn, the Alabama head coach, told us is that what he's been happy to build with this program is resiliency. They've had to come back from quite a bit of adversity this season. We've already mentioned the up and downs for Alabama and SEC play. It's been more up and downs than a roller coaster at Six Flags. They started SEC play getting swept at Kentucky, then won 8 of 9 before getting swept at home by Arkansas last weekend. He even brought up the first game of the year. Everyone's excited about the season to come. They won the first 16 last year. They host Washington State, and they're down 8-1 halfway through, yet came back, run-ruled Washington State the next 2, had a nice start to the year, and despite being swept last weekend by Arkansas in the top 5 of the RPI coming in. Yeah, since that sweep to Kentucky, they've won 12 of 17. Of course, 3 of those losses to Arkansas last weekend. Brady Neal's 1 for 2 and came in hitting .375, but now behind in the count 0-2.
Back-to-back breakers. If you're Volantis, you got to be thinking maybe he, does he elevate a fastball? Does he do, what does he do? But eventually it may come back to that breaker. He got Neal with it earlier, his first time up. And now if you're LeBron, you've got to be looking for that breaker in the dirt to try to get to second base to get into scoring position. You're chasing 5. You stole a bag early. Your first time you got a stolen base, but you're chasing 5. You don't want an out made on the bases, but it is part of your offense for him to run.
Just got a piece to stay alive. That LeBron stolen base you mentioned is 30th of the season in 30 attempts.
Again, it doesn't mean he's going to be stealing right here because you're chasing runs, but it's got to be crossing the coach's mind because that's what they do. But he's definitely got to be reading ball in dirt out, and he was going.
Throw over to Borba. Oh, and the throw hits LeBron. It gets away from Rodriguez, and it's going to lead to a run. Fowler scores Alabama's first run of the night, and it cuts the Texas lead to 5-1.
Yeah, we get another look. They thinking the same thing. He was going. They pick him. LeBron does a smart thing. Look at him run inside the line right there, not allowing a throwing lane for Borba. At that point, you've got to throw high, even further inside, to be able to catch the ball and put a tag down because he took part of your throwing lane away from you by as he was running to second base.
Tenney on to first. Dylan Volantis has a career high 12 strikeouts. 2 down.
Well, if you haven't spent a whole lot of time in the starting role, you've been a closer, you're not going to have more than, and all of a sudden 12, everybody goes, it's 12? Yeah, I think you get a good look on 12's a lot, by the way.
He's pitched 27 innings against SEC foes and has 40 strikeouts. That was a big one. LeBron remains on second. Here's Hines, swings and misses 0-1. The error by Borba is Texas's 4th. Talked about Alabama being the team struggling defensively coming in. They don't have an error, although they had a defensive miscue allowing Pack to reach base to begin the bottom of the 5th, and he would later score. But again, Texas all 4 errors. LeBron's on his way to third, and that ball bounces away. LeBron's trying to go home. The throw to Volantis. The tag applied, not in time. LeBron scores all the way from second to cut the Texas lead to 5-2.
Think about this inning. It starts with a ground ball, a seeing eye ground ball back up the middle, right? And then a slow roller ground ball, a pickoff that you can't get to him. Now he steals third and a wild pitch. As you see him get his hand right at just underneath. And I don't know if they're going to, Coach Schlossnagle was going to ask for a review. It looked from our angle like he got his hand in there in time. But if you replay this inning, they haven't hit a ball real hard yet.
No ball has left the infield. 2 infield hits, 2 strikeouts, and of course, Volantis had LeBron picked off, but the error by Borba allowed him to reach second base, and then he scores on the wild pitch. Here's another look. Yeah.
Yeah, I think he's saved from that angle. Plate umpire Eddie Newsom and Jim going to talk about if I could read lips, I could tell you what they're talking about, but I think I got a pretty decent idea anyway. The umpires all got together and were trying to decide whether they were going to go review it or not. And you know, they didn't think that there was, apparently they didn't think there was a need. If that's what they were discussing. But again, the ball's not left the infield yet. And you've got 2 runs scored and not a walk involved either.
So you give LeBron 2 stolen bases this inning and 3 in the game, and then scoring on the wild pitch. And that hits the third base bag, stays fair. Hines on his way to second, and he'll slide in with a double with 2 outs. Here come the Tide, down 5-0 at one point, 2 in this inning, and now a runner in scoring position.
Now this is a good piece of hitting. This ball's hit hard right down the third baseline. That's a one-hop line drive that just scalds the third base bag and pops up. And because of that, I think it was going to probably be a double anyway, because of how hard it was hit. It would have been hooking down the line. But once it hit that bag and popped up, none of the defenders could get to it in time. That ball was hit hard.
And now Luke Vaughn. Pitch count up to 85 for Volantis here with 2 outs in the 6th. Vaughn hit into a double play his last time up and struck out in the 2nd. That's foul. That double, just the 7th allowed by Volantis this season, and the 8th extra base hit allowed overall this year in 50 1/3 innings. One the count.
I think when he got out here, was it pitch 67, if I remember, or close to that number when he started the inning. And he finds himself pushing 90.
Here's the 1-2.
That was one of the rare breakers that stayed elevated he's thrown today. Most of them he's buried on the right-handed hitter's back foot, swing over the top of it. And it's been an occasional backdoor breaker, but that's one of the few that stayed where it was hittable and elevated enough.
To short, Rodriguez, tough throw to first. Yes! Rodriguez flashes the leather like LeBron did in the bottom of the 5th. And Texas limits Alabama to 2 in the top half of the 6th.
I'm going to tell you what, this is a tough plate. He rides to his right, got to go field it, throw off balance, throw back across his body, and enough on it to get it to Borba for the 3rd out.
Just one ball getting to the outfield in that top of the 6th. Justin LeBron and company able to put 2 across. LeBron 2 stolen bases in the top of the 6th and 3 overall. And the Tide are back in it, down 5-2 as we head to the bottom of the 6th. With Ty Harrington, I'm David Salzman from UFCU Dish Falk Field. And Casey Borba hitting 8th in the order for the first time this season. Leads off the 6th with Darian Pendergrass, and then the top of the order, Aiden Robbins. A single coming in the fourth, and the Longhorns left the bases loaded. Tyler Fay gets the sixth, and he's up to 82 pitches. So Jim Schlossnagle stressed in his post-game press conference recently that he wanted to see more from the bottom of the order. Darian Pendergrass and company did it Tuesday. They went 5 for 7, but we're in a rough stretch before that. Alabama does not see this ball except the second baseman, Holt, who's able to get there just in time to make the play. Vaughn and Kroberger lost the ball in the lights, and Holt is able to rescue the Tide for the first out.
That's that sun setting where you don't have that changing of the sky and the color of it. Neither one of them saw it. Second baseman, as you said, Holt comes over and makes a tremendous play. He was able to look at it from a different angle and able to find it.
That's a one down for Pendergrass. Pendergrass has reached base both times, hit by a pitch in the second, singled in the fourth. After his 3 RBI day Tuesday and the come-from-behind win over Texas A&M Corpus Christi. He said after his first start of the season Tuesday, it felt amazing. He said, I'm always ready when my number is called. And what does it say for a player? I'm sure you had plenty in your head coaching career, having to wait so long and then getting your opportunity like this. He is on for the 3rd time tonight.
You get excited. It's what you came here for. It's what you work out for. You practice for. You put the time in, and you got to prepare and keep yourself. You always have to keep yourself ready. You don't know when that moment's coming, but I can tell you when it's not going to come if you don't prepare for it. I can tell you that. And once you do, and then you get in there, you take advantage of it, and certainly he has so far.
It's the bottom of the order. 3 hits and has reached base 4 times. They were 5 for 7 Tuesday in the previous 5 games. Just hitting .260, and they really struggled at A&M last weekend. That's out of the glove of Neal, and Pendergrass moves his way to second.
It looked like Neal came up. He was going to try to pick down to first base after the pitch because he stood up out of his catching position like he was almost throwing to second, but he was trying to go to first and just missed it.
Want to know the count to Aiden Robbins. Led off the bottom of the first with a double and would score on the Carson Tinney home run. 1-1 the count.
Kind of a, hey, I do have a move if I need to make a move to second. We want to see what you're doing. I mean, those little inside turns are often just information, intel moves, trying to see if there was just like one extra beginning step or lean to third.
Pendergrass 43 stolen bases last season. Full-time starter at the College of Charleston. Here's the 1-1. Ripped to left center. That's a base hit. Pendergrass is going to come in to score. Robbins makes the turn at first. He's on his way to second, sliding in safely. His second double, and it's 6-2 Texas.
A hitting machine, homers, doubles, singles. This ball was kind of barring in on him, David, and he was able to slide his hands and get that barrel flush to it, hit it the left center gap. Two-seamer ran, started middle, started running back into him. That's a lot harder than what it looks like. He's got such a long swing, meaning point A to point B is not. It's short, but that follow through and that finish stays in the hitting area so long. It is an impressive swing arc.
This is SEC game number 15 for Texas. Robbins has 22 hits in SEC play, and that's his 14th RBI versus conference competition. And we'll see if that's it for Tyler Fay. Jason Jackson is the Alabama pitching coach who comes out to the mound. First 3 Texas batters in the first all scored. Robbins doubled. Carson Tinney, who's at the plate now, with 2-run homer. And Adrian Rodriguez with single, and score later on an Ethan Mendoza single. Single runs in the 3rd, 5th, and 6th for Texas to give them the 6-2 lead. And Eddie Newsom has made the call to the pen. And Connor Lehman, the sophomore southpaw, will come in for the Tide. So Faye's night is done with Texas leading 6-2 with 1 out in the bottom of the 6th. Men's and women's tennis championship matches on the SEC Network and the ESPN app. Men's coverage begins at 1 Eastern, noon Central from College Station, and the women will follow from Norman, Oklahoma, where conference champs will be crowned. Texas, the defending men's champs, and the Georgia Bulldogs are the 3-time defending women's champs. So here's Connor Lehman, sophomore from Indian Mound, Tennessee, in relief of Tyler Fay, who went 5 1/3 innings and is responsible so far for 6 Texas runs. You see Lehman's numbers: 1-0 on the season, an ERA of just under 6 and 7 2/3 innings of work, only allowing 4 hits but walking 5. So Tyler Fay, up and down night, gave up 3 in the 1st. Only allowed a run in the 3rd and 4th when Texas had the bases loaded both those frames, but 12 hits allowed overall and 5 1/3.
He never really got to the first base side of home plate, which he likes to do, and continuously, and successful at over and over and repeating it. But there were times when you saw that 93-mile-an-hour sinker and how rugged it is on hitters, and his breaker slider. This is also a really good Texas lineup that's, you know, probably playing a little motivated right now.
One the count to Tenney. Tenney, a 2-run blast in the 1st, singled and scored in the 3rd. And you mentioned about the motivation for Texas, losing both games at Texas A&M last weekend. Back and forth affair in the series opener. Really a great game, which A&M was able to prevail 9-8. And then all Aggies in game 2. Game 3 washed out. Ripped to left, base hit, and off the glove of Hines, off the wall. Robbins comes in to score. Tenney's 3rd hit, 7-2 Texas.
It's been a lethal combination at the top of this lineup for the Longhorns tonight, making the move to putting Robbins in the leadoff position. As he doubled before, and then Tenney chases him with another double, allowing Robbins to score from second base easily. Changeup that stayed in the middle part of the plate. Tenney does not miss it. That stroke is so compact and powerful right now. That all-speed pitch was in the middle part of the plate. Comes up with a double.
He is 14 of 25 his last 7 games. That's hitting .560. Fouled off the bat of Adrian Rodriguez, who's 2 for 3 tonight. So in Robbins' last 14 at-bats, he's hitting .600. And again, Tenney, his last 25 at-bats, hitting .560. And tonight combined 5 for 7 with a homer, 4 runs batted in, 4 runs scored.
Seeing Adrian Rodriguez hit right-handed for first time in a while.
Rodriguez back from injury. A couple of nice plays at short. Although he has committed 2 errors, including his first opportunity. And at the plate, as you said, he's not looking in pain as he swings and misses. 2 hits today. 1-2 the count now.
The latter part of it, I mean, he was just grimacing after swings, and he gets into long foul ball at bats where he'll fight balls off. His eye-hand coordination is really, really good.
And you mentioned hitting from the right side against the lefty Lehman. Rodriguez this season 6 for 33 against lefties, batting .182. 7-2 Texas. They are 25-2 this season when leading after 6. Coming in 20-2 here at Disch Falk Field. To the right side, Holt on to Vaughn for the out as Tinney moves over to third. 2 down.
Yeah, this is just a good pitch. Fastball away, right-handed hitter, keeps it down around the kneecaps. Hits a routine ground ball over to the second baseman, Holt.
Anthony Pack Jr. officially doubled in the 5th on a ball that fell in between 3 Alabama players in shallow left field. He will later score an Atema Becerra sac fly. This a no-doubter to center. In comes Tinney, 8-2.
He just comes up with his 3rd hit of the night again, and a lot of line drives with that short stroke, short quick stroke, I should say, from Pack, using the middle part of the field on a ball that was pinned in on him a little bit. He inside outs it right back up the middle and hits it hard enough to get it through the infield for a base hit.
Robbins and Tinney, we mentioned a moment ago, 5 for 7, but when you include Rodriguez and Pack, top 4 of the order tonight, 9 for 14. Ethan Mendoza batting 5th for the first time this season, had an RBI single back in the 1st. So far, the movement in the order has certainly worked for Jim Schlossnagle. Mendoza started the first 35 games of the season in the leadoff spot, and Robbins in the 3-hole. Mendoza's hit safely in 10 of his last 13 games after that single in the 1st. 2-0 the count.
Sometimes if you just move your order, you see different pitches. You get to see a different rhythm of the game, and inside of maybe somebody hitting differently in front of you. I mean, there's a lot to that that can be constructive.
You coached for so many years. Is that a harder decision to make after, look at this year when Mendoza's leading off all season, to make this switch in mid-April?
Yeah, but I think sometimes, coaches love to get where they have the nucleus of their lineup similar, because everybody gets comfortable, right? And when it's good and it's positive, you try to keep it there. There is comfort. It's no different than you pulling in one side of the driveway every day. It's comforting. You know where you're going. It's a routine. But the reality is that you don't get the same. If you move around, you start to get different pitches now. They're looking at you in a different way. It just changes things up a little bit. Sometimes that gives a hitter a different look, but it certainly can change the energy of your lineup as well. And you play this game long enough, you're going to have downtime. I mean, this game's built that way. I'm sorry. I mean, there's very few people who get to live on the high side of it all the time. And sometimes if you're not swinging as good, you move them down, take a little pressure, a little heat off of them, let them relax a little bit, catch a breath.
Mendoza goes down swinging, and Neal, the catcher, remains down.
And the bat came back and hit him when he swung. It came back on his and hit him in the wrist is what it looks like.
Let's hope he's okay. He's Alabama's leading hitter, hitting under 400 as he makes his way back to the Alabama dugout. Texas emotions high. Carson Tinney a 2-run bomb. Adrian Rodriguez a couple of hits. Robinson Pack remain hot, and Dylan Valantis a career high 12 strikeouts tonight. Hits for Texas. The offense has come through as the Longhorns lead Alabama 8-2 through 6, and certainly Ty Harrington. The pitching has come through for Texas. Dylan Valantis' night is done after going 6 innings and a career high 12 strikeouts.
Yeah, he was electric tonight with that breaker, all 2 of his breakers, and then his fastball when he needed it. But he was clean. I mean, he got a lot of swing miss. I mean, even the inning they scored 2, they hit one ball hard, the double down the line, the 3rd hit of the inning, where the other 2 were strategically hit ground balls, but he was good. I mean, the rest, in between gave him a little bit of energy, maybe to spin that ball even harder, but tremendous outing from Dylan Volantis tonight for the Longhorns.
And he gives way to the freshman Sam Cozart, who has most recently been the Texas closer. Saves in his last 3 appearances, including the 2 wins at South Carolina. 5-0 this season with 4 saves overall and an ERA just over 2. He gets the top of the 7th with his team up 8-2. Volantis 12 strikeouts tonight. Cozart's last 7 outs have all been via the strikeout. 1-0 the count to Jason Torres with Caleb Barnett and Brendan Holt to follow. Two and out. So what's your thought on Cozart getting the 7th here? Obviously a change in role from what he's had the last couple of weeks.
I think that maybe just trying to plan this out. Let's get him in the game. He hadn't thrown in a little bit. Let's get him out there. Sometimes if you throw early on Friday, not early in the game as much, if you throw on Friday, it brings you a chance to come back on Sunday as well. I think it also indicates the importance of winning this game. You've lost 2 in a row. Maybe that's part of it as well.
He's behind Torres, 3-0. That's a rare sight. That's just the 7th walk allowed by Cozart in 30 and a third innings. Back to Dylan Volantis, 12 strikeouts, a career high in 6 innings of work. And dominance all around the plate, Ty Harrington.
You can see it. It's that break. That's his slider. There's his curveball. And again, slider, which disguises his breaker, his bigger curveball. But look at it, he's just all over that box. That thing's just, I can't overemphasize. I know probably people watch this game, this broadcast, you get tired of me saying it's just hard to get to the middle of that baseball. It is when it's roaring down and it's spinning like that and going downhill.
So Volantis, his first appearance in 13 days dominant. And this is Sam Cozart's first appearance in 13 days. April 4th, his last outing, getting the save at South Carolina as the Horns took the last 2 games to take the series. So pinch hitter at the plate is John Lem, senior from Brisbane, Australia. One of their best hitters coming in, batting .286, although he's been slumping recently, was the everyday catcher and has been getting a little more time off as he's gone through a 2 for 24 slump.
I think to answer, and I'm saying what I think doesn't mean I know it did or isn't. I think part of the decision to get Cozart in the game, one, it's always important to win. You want some of your best guys out there if you can do it. He hadn't pitched in 13 days. Right. He hadn't pitched in a while. So it's hard to, if he hadn't pitched in a while, to toss a guy the ball with 3 outs to go get with a 1-run lead possibly. So this may be, hey, let's get him in there. Let's get him settled back into the flow of pitching.
2-2 to Lem. As you said rightly, we'll see how long Cozart goes today. And that should still make him available Sunday in a relief outing. By the way, tomorrow's game, we haven't mentioned it, has been moved up 2 hours. There's a chance of rain tomorrow afternoon here in Austin. What was a 2 o'clock Central first pitch has now been moved to noon. You can catch the game here on SEC Network Plus. Strike 3 called. Lem goes down, and there's 1 out.
Start looking breakers and start looking something else, and he just dots a fastball in there, 90+ miles an hour, right down through the kneecaps for a strikeout.
This is as a freshman, leader in the SEC in opponent's batting average in whip. That whip at 0.59, third in K rate and fourth and strikeout to walk ratio. Now Brendan Holt, who went 0 for 2 against Volantis, including a strikeout. Alabama's 2 runs coming in the top of the 6th, where they got 3 of their 4 hits off Volantis. Just missed, 1-1.
Longhorn umpires thinking that ball was just at the top of the strike zone. I think it was just above.
Exactly 7,547 Longhorn umpires.
It's a bunch of them
here at Disch Falk tonight. Temperature's down to 79 degrees. It is the warmest it should be all weekend. In fact, temperature is going to get down to the 50s tomorrow, according to the forecast.
We're going to play 2 different baseball fields in 24 hours. Ball blowing out today to left. That wind's going to be blowing in from the north tomorrow as we get a rare late April northern. I think it's going to blow in. It's going to drop the temperatures you just mentioned.
Liner into the glove of Rodriguez. 2 down.
It's a pretty good at bat. A good swing from Holt. As we get a second look at it, this ball's pelted pretty good. Erod position, pull side, put him in the middle part of the shortstop position. That line drive was hit just barely to the right of him, but hit good.
So that ends a streak of 8 consecutive outs by Cozart, being via the strikeout. And now Kroberger, who struck out both times he faced Volantis, takes the first pitch strike. Dylan Volantis tonight. Ruger Riojas, the starter tomorrow, and Luke Harrison will get Sunday. 0-2.
Cozart, it's similar, not coming from the same height as Volantis with a breaker, but they shape up very similar. They've got tremendous up-down movement to them, vertical to it. He's able to get his fingers to the top of that baseball and really spin it when he needs to.
Strike 3 called. So after the 4-pitch walk to begin his outing, 2 strikeouts for Cozart and 14 strikeouts overall for Texas of Alabama hitters.
Breakers at the beginning, heater at the end of it. 94-mile-an-hour fastball on the outer edge of the plate. We get a second strikeout of the inning and to end the inning.
Bad in the 2 losses to Texas A&M last weekend, losing 9-8 and 11-4. They had 10 extra base hits in the 2 games. But the bats have been even hotter. Carson Tinney's 2-run blast in the first, really getting Texas going. 8 runs, 14 hits, and 5 extra base hits overall, including 2 from the Texas catcher.
They've shown you a lot of different offense today. The doubles, the homers, singles, sac flies. Offensive execution so far tonight has been impressive and good.
Becerra sac fly, scored Pack in the 5th. Here a grounder. That's the second baseman Holt on the shift. And over to Vaughn for out number 1 here in the bottom of the 7th.
Sometimes it just doesn't seem right seeing a ground ball hit to the left of second base and you put down a 4-3 on it because they've shifted over, but it's exactly what happened.
So now the DH spot due up, and Josh Livingston will be pinch hit for Presley Corville, freshman from Lake Charles, Louisiana. 4 for 10 this season, including a double and a run batted in. Went to Barb High School, Power in the state of Louisiana. Hit .492 his senior year, and perfect game ranked him as the #1 catcher in the state of Louisiana last year.
High school has put out a ton.
To left, base hit. Corville takes the turn at first and will hold there. Hit number 15 for Texas here on the night.
Schlossnagle going and playing the odds, moving from the left-handing, hitting Livingston over to the right-hand and hitting Corville with the left-hander on the mound. It pays off. As he steps up to the plate, immediately comes up with a base hit over the shortstop's head.
Corville at first for Casey Borba. Borba singled in the fourth and is 1 for 3. Big hack 0-1. Couple of hits Tuesday in the come-from-behind win over Texas A&M Corpus Christi. That hit in the fourth, just a second in the last 6 SEC games, but he has shown how dominant he can be at the plate. 6 RBIs in the series opening win against Oklahoma a few weeks ago here.
I'm not going to make an excuse for him because he's a really good, accomplished baseball player and a great defender of the baseball. But you had to go back over to third base and you had to concentrate and put focus on. Again, people ask players to do that all the time, and I'm not saying that's the sole reason, but it starts to occupy your mindset a little bit about making that adjustment defensively, what's best for your team. And sometimes your hitting can suffer a little.
Bunt. Lehman over to first, and don't see that often. Got a sac bunt here, moving Corville over to second.
Yeah, that was a drag bunt attempt. He was trying to get it passed down the line and get it past the pitcher. And again, oftentimes you don't want some of your power guys doing it, but you know, they see it. They see the crease. They see the third baseman, the crease meaning third baseman playing way behind the bag. They'll try to advance the runner and in the meantime come up with a base hit.
That is officially ruled a sac bunt, and Corville now in scoring position. Here's Pendergrass. A couple of hits today in the 9th spot of the order. Yeah, Jim Schlossnagle said he wanted more from the bottom of the order, and he's gotten that from Pendergrass, who also provides great defense out in right field. This the opposite way, left center. In comes Hines, slides and makes the grab for a run-saving catch to end the bottom of the 7th. Pendergrass robbed, and it's still 8-2.
I tell you what, he makes a great break on this ball, David. This ball slide into the gap, goes down to a slide position to get underneath the ball so you can get visually a good look at it, get your glove underneath it. And he makes a good grab.
Not often Alabama and Texas have met. In fact, it's just the 13th meeting all time between these two squads. Some Alabama fans here in town enjoying Austin over the weekend, where they have seen Texas get up early and they have remained hot at the plate and on the mound. Sam Cozart gets a second inning of work. 14 Alabama hitters have struck out. That's a season high as Texas leads 8-2 at the top of the 8th beginning. Top of the order, and Bryce Fowler. Tide did play here in 2022. Of course, when Texas was a Big 12 member, non-conference series, and the Longhorns swept the Tide.
I think I remember that. I mean, I thought there would have been more meetings along the way. Just, you know, you go back to that 83, summer 83 show, they played a title game, and then you just kind of assume, even though that the SEC is new, you know, for Texas to be in, per se, I guess, you know, I would have thought over all those years that, you know, they would have played more than that.
The series does go back to 1899, but again, they have not played each other much. And what you just saw on the top left of your screen is correct. 2-1 now the count to Fowler. 1904, the last time the Tide knocked off the Longhorns. In fact, it's the only time they've ever defeated Texas. 122 years ago.
Wow.
Ralph Hutchinson, the head coach of Texas baseball and Texas football at the time. Can you imagine Coach Sark over in the dugout?
I did not know that.
Ever imagine Coach Sark over in the dugout with a baseball jersey on?
He is a baseball guy, though.
Yeah. Started as a baseball player at USC. Fowler goes down. Third strikeout for Cozart. 15 strikeouts by Texas pitching.
I think the last 3 strikeouts, too, have been fastballs. He's been able to lock them up. Fastball in, fastball at the kneecaps, and then this one elevated. It gets him to swing through it. See that four-seamer at the top of the triangle. unable to catch up and foul it off.
It's going to be a joy to watch Justin LeBron this weekend. Singled and scored in the 6th. He has flashed the leather multiple times from a shortstop position so far today. And even though his offensive numbers are down this season compared to his first 2 years in a Tide uniform, you can see why he's one of the top prospects in all of the nation in a certain first-round pick, high first-round pick, in the upcoming Major League Baseball draft in a couple of months or so.
Extremely athletic. The running, the throwing, the defending, the 2 plays he's already made tonight defensively, showing off his arm, his ability to close down on balls, throw on the run, the accuracy part of it.
You saw the stolen bases. He's 32 for 32. He has 3 tonight. And coming in, Texas opponents for the season had just 11 stolen bases total. Two on the count.
That's part of Alabama's offense. I mean, if that's your offense, what happens sometimes, David, if you get too far behind, you start, or by 5 or 6, you start to take your offense stealing away. They didn't with LeBron. He was going. He got picked, but he was still going down 5. But that's part of your offense.
Liner, Rodriguez there. 2 down.
Interesting enough, that's a 3rd-line drive hit to Rodriguez tonight. This one a little more of a looper. He got out in front of it, hooked it. A little bit not hit as hard as the other 2. It's just unusual to see a shortstop with 3 line drive catches or opportunities in one game.
So good to see Neal at the plate. Remember, he got hurt in the bottom of the 7th at the end of Ethan Mendoza's swing. Neal 1 for 3 with a single. First time to face Cozart here today. Texas 9-5 in the SEC, tied with Texas A&M for 2nd behind Georgia. But even in the loss column, Georgia came in today 11-5 after losing to Arkansas yesterday. 1-1 the count.
This is way off subject what I'm about to say. You brought it up though, so I can blame you. 1899. So they travel by train, right? That's the only way you could get. That's the only way.
Yes.
Then at that point, right?
Horse and carriage would take too long, I imagine.
Yeah, I'm just trying to play that in my mind. They're not getting on a charter. I can tell you that they didn't get on a charter. I'm just trying to envision what it really looked like back then, and what college baseball might have looked like.
Yeah, that Alabama win in 1904 was in Tuscaloosa, 6-3. Only time the Tide has ever knocked out the Longhorns. 2-2.
Cozart going again to that fastball to try to finish off the at-bat. It would have been, if he would have, it would have been the 3rd, maybe 4th one that he used his fastball to finish. Now he's got into a 2-2 count. Does he go to that big breaker? Does he double it up with that fastball again?
One off speed, 3-2. Here comes the payoff from the freshman. Got him looking. 3 of his 4 strikeouts tonight have been looking, and 16 times Alabama has gone down via the strikeout. On the mound and at the plate, Aiden Robbins got it started with a double to lead off the Texas onslaught.
Done it all tonight. I mean, this has been a tremendous offensive performance by the Longhorns from top to bottom. All of their lineup has in some fashion contributed tonight. Oh yeah, and this guy right here, by the way, his contribution with that breaker tonight, with all the strikeouts, is impressive as well.
That Carson Tenney 2-run home run came in the first. Texas has not looked back, and Robbins and Tenney just continue to mash at the plate. Robbins hitting .600 his last 15 at-bats with 4 home runs, and Tenney hitting .560 his last 25 at-bats with 7 home runs, including that one in the first inning tonight. They're 5 for 7 with that home run, 5 runs scored, 4 runs batted in, and they will lead off the bottom of the 8th with Texas on top of Alabama 8-2. Robbins' batting average is up to .368 to lead the squad on this 2-for-3 day. He was also hit by a pitch in the 4th. Couple of runs scored to give him 41 to lead the squad. Run batted into the 6th to give him 41 to also lead Texas. Leads the Horns in triples, home runs, OPS. Tied for the lead in sac flies also.
You just don't see him trash at bats. And what I mean by that, we all do at some point as hitters. We're going to have bad at bats, but you don't trash them, meaning you don't go up there unfocused very often. And the first pitch you see, you swing way out of the zone. You chase maybe 2-3 times, or maybe take a call third strike after chasing. You just don't see him do that very often. I mean, they're mature, good at bats. Obviously he's got an idea where he wants the ball to land. He is able to manipulate the barrel when he starts his swing to get to the better part of the baseball. That's part of hitting and being timed up to be able to do that, and he does it well.
Lehman walks Robbins on 4 pitches to begin the 8th. Well, he has worked his way, according to ESPN's Kyler McDaniel, to the #1 21 overall prospect in the upcoming draft. So from Seton Hall to Texas to perhaps the first round of the draft.
It's going to be fun to watch. He has been fun to watch. Plays with a lot of energy, plays with a lot of aura about him and about wanting to win, wanting to succeed. He plays hard. I think it pours out to his teammates.
Tenney was showing bunt, got hit. Both he and Robbins haven't hit tonight, and it's runners on first and second with nobody out.
Got him in the foot. There's just no protection down there unless you got a shin guard on, and he does, but it got him in the calf. Either way, it's going to leave a mark.
You've been impressed not just by Adrian Rodriguez's 2 hits, but again, how he's looked at the plate after missing the last 8 games.
It just doesn't look that painful for him now like it did obviously earlier, but his bat speed's been good tonight. I don't think it's at full tilt because he's such a good hitter. Again, his eye-hand coordination is an elite level for college hitters, but I think his aggression with his barrel to get after his swing, I think he's done that tonight.
Jim Schlossnagle said he reminisced about how Rodriguez started his Texas career last season. First 2 months of the year, he was hitting .326. Then he got hit by a pitch at Missouri March 28th. And missing the last 8 games, they took staples out of his hand following the surgery. Schlossnagle said he was having an allergic reaction to those staples.
Yeah, I don't know what the initial or the formal decision about what it was, but yeah, it had something to do with a reaction or infection. I'm not sure, but I mean, for him to get back this quick, it speaks a lot about what this young man wants to be able to do.
And Schlossnagle says if Rodriguez can become anything close to the version of himself before that hit by pitch last season, it would make Texas a completely different team.
It puts everybody back in a normal position defensively first. Secondly, yeah, you've got to hit him. The guy's a really good hitter.
He's worked the count full.
There's been a lot of hitters go through this program, and he was one of the more impressive freshman hitters to get in the middle of a lineup at the University of Texas. It looked like he was a polished sophomore, junior hitter as a freshman.
To the opposite way, Kroberger and right makes the catch. Runners hold, there's one down. Well, Sunday, the Rally Cap crew will break down the SEC baseball and softball weekend with highlights, analysis, interviews, and much more. They'll also get you set for the next week with the look of the best matchups. Coverage begins at 7 Eastern, 6 Central on the SEC Network and the ESPN app. So Rodriguez 2 for 5. Anthony Pack Jr., the freshman, hitting in the cleanup spot tonight, is 3 for 4. Scored one of the 8 Texas runs that came in the 5th inning on a Tema Becerra sac fly.
I really enjoy watching him hit. He's got tremendous bat speed. It's a short stroke, but it's a soft setup, meaning he picks his front leg up, foot up, hangs it in there. Watch him hang it, and it's just because he's in time. It's like he's like he's dancing. He knows the timing of. He's got to catch up with a 96-mile-an-hour fastball, and as a 19-year-old freshman, you're not used to that. You can think you are, but you're not until you experience it. He does a good job of hanging that front foot. He's on time. He's able to stay on breakers, and he uses the complete field to hit off of.
Jim Schlossnagle said multiple times that with all the teams, oh, look out, get back quickly. Not as impressive as the dad making the barehanded grab of a foul ball, holding his kid in the other arm, but hey, good effort. To right center on an 0-2 pitch, base hit. Robbins comes in to score. Pack on his way to second. It is a 4-hit night for the freshman. 9-2 Longhorns.
He's on time with fastballs, and he's on time with breakers. I mean, this is a 2-strike approach. Hangs with it, barrel stays in position long enough. Watch him get completely extended on that breaker. Great balance, even though he was out in front of it. Barrel stays in position to be able to drive it to the outfield for a double.
It is his first 4-hit game of his Texas career. This is Lehman's 3rd inning of work. And we will see if his night is done. His second full inning. And again, his team down 9-2.
Yeah, and that's got to be a little bit of a discussion about what they're going to try to do pitching-wise. They come up with a base hit and score 2. This game, it starts to get out. Get closer and closer to run ruling, and so, but also just to slow him down, let him catch his breath. And look, that wasn't a terrible pitch he made to Pack. Pack's a good hitter, and he stayed on it. He's just seeing the ball that good, and it looks like they're going to make a pitching change.
So the Tide will go to the pen for the 2nd time tonight. And we'll tell you more about Owen Sarna, who's coming in for Alabama, when we return. Between Texas and Georgia begins tomorrow. We're talking SEC softball. So tomorrow and Monday's games on SEC Network and Sundays on ESPN, and all games also available on the ESPN app. Texas had a 27-game win streak at one point, but they've lost 4 of their last 6 conference games, including 2 of 3 to Alabama a couple of weekends ago, and that put the Crimson Tide at #1 in the nation. Texas 10-5 in the SEC, Georgia 9-6. Alabama's 13-3, just a game behind Oklahoma. for the conference league. We talk about the strength of SEC baseball. Last season, all but one softball team of the SEC made the NCAA tournament. That is how good softball is in the SEC. Owen Sarna is on for Alabama, the Tide's third pitcher tonight. It's his fourth appearance of the season, an ERA of just under 3 in 3 1/3 innings of work. He comes in with Texas already having a run in the bottom of the 8th, with runners on 2nd and 3rd and a 9-2 lead. With Ty Harrington, I'm David Salzman from UFCU Disch-Falk Field. Ethan Mendoza will be the first batter to face Sarna. He lifts this to center. Tinney holds at 3rd and now will head to the plate after the catch by Fowler. Pack on his way to 3rd, a sac fly, and it's 10-2 Longhorns.
Mendoza going early in the count. Does a good job of getting his fly ball out to center field, knowing that another run's 90 feet away with less than 2 outs, which is a great opportunity from a hitting perspective, because you know that you get a fly ball just like that, you still get a chance to get that RBI, and with a sac fly, does a good job of getting that runner in from 3rd.
4th sac fly of the season for Mendoza. That leads the team. And Pack 90 feet away, hoping to provide more insurance. Here's Tema Becerra. His sac fly scored Pack in the 5th. By the way, fans, if you haven't heard, tomorrow's game, which was originally scheduled for a 2 o'clock Central start, will start 2 hours early at noon, with rain in the forecast for late afternoon tomorrow here in Austin. So a noon start tomorrow. Sunday's game still at 1 Central.
We've gotten into that weekend rain rotation right now. We need this front to come through and push this out. Let's get busy back into the... Let's put some of that rain on Monday and Wednesday.
Three and 0 the count now to Becerra. He started every game. Looking for his first hit here tonight. Came in batting .279. Strike call. Right now, Georgia leads Arkansas 3-0 top 6, and Texas A&M leads LSU 10-4 top 9. So the 3 teams even in the loss column with 5 losses, best in the SEC, all winning as we speak.
That Aggie offense is real. I saw him last Tuesday night in San Marcos against Texas State, and they're physical. I saw them early in the year in Globe Life, and they're a big physical offensive team, and I think they have one of the best hitters in the league too, and that's Sorrell.
Becerra swings and misses, and that's the final out of the 8th. Texas adds 2, and they look to close out Alabama when we return.
Best conference tournament all of college baseball.
Run straight for the breakaway.
Let's get to Hoover.
It's just over a month away, May 19th, beginning of the SEC Conference Tournament in Hoover, Alabama. Single elimination with all the teams from the league. Rigor Riojas, Zane Adams to get the start tomorrow for 2 of the squads in the top half of the conference coming into today. Zane Adams, Houston area product, and Riojas, a career season, usually the Friday night starter, but getting the start tomorrow with Dylan Valantis starting tonight after a 13-day layoff. Sam Cozart gets his 3rd inning of work. Looking to close out Alabama, a 10-2 score. And off the bat of Hines, long throw from 3rd, and nicely done by Becerra, 1 down.
This is a great baseball play. I know it looks routine to some people. The ball ranging to his right. Becerra does. Watch this. He's got to range over to his right, straight down the line, get his feet set up, and look at the laser across from 3rd base with the accurate throw.
And now Luke Vaughn. With Texas 2 outs away from going to 10-5 in league play. Cozart up to 35 pitches to match his jersey number. Actually, this is Andrew Purdy at the plate. My apologies, pinch hitter for the Crimson Tide. Freshman from Cartersville, Georgia. Pinch hitting for Vaughn, the first baseman. Purdy hitting .242 in the season with a home run and 11 runs batted in. And the count is 0-2. So Cozart approaching 40 pitches. His longest outing since March 22nd, when he threw 2 2/3 hitless innings. A 5-0 win at Auburn. He threw 51 pitches that day, one day after throwing 10 pitches. And Texas's first win over Auburn that series, 7-6. Strike 3 called.
Right back to that heater again for the strikeout. He's been so successful with it with 2 strikes. A lot of hitters going up looking for a slider or a curveball or something secondary. He just rips his fastball in the inner half at 94 and gets the call.
17 strikeouts for Texas pitching. 5 by Cozart. And now Justin Osterhaus is the pinch hitter. This lined into the glove of the first baseman Borba, and that will do it. Texas put up 3 in the bottom of the first and did not look back. Dylan Valanis shined with 6 innings on the mound. Sam Cozart closes it out, and a little defense to end it.
A little bit of defense from Casey Borba jumping up and grabbing that line drive. Tell you, that was a complete game for Texas offensively and pitching wise. Had a couple bumbles here, a little bit defensively that happens in this game. But when you ask your team to go out and win a game, if you've lost 2 in a row, you got a good team coming in, you got the right recipe with the offense. And that guy right there, Dylan Valanis, on the mound.
So Alabama is still looking for their first win over Texas in 122 years. They'll have the chance tomorrow. Remember, the new start time, noon Central, here on SEC Network Plus. Texas knocks off Alabama 10-2 in the series opener at UFCU Disch-Falk Field in Austin. For Ty Harrington and our entire crew, I'm David Salzman saying so long from the capital city of Texas. Dylan Valanis shines. Texas wins the series opener.